All right, do it. Hype me up. Come on.
Hype you up?
Bring me in. Go. Go.
Flavor
Flav.
The man with the plan. The critic with the most. What rhymes with critic? Wittick with the most.
Wittick?
I don't know.
Riddick. I wanted to do a Flavor Flav thing.
I can't do a Flavor Flav thing.
Why not?
Because I don't know. Like, yeah, boy.
Yeah, don't call it a comeback. We've literally done 20 of these, so we've never gone anywhere. These bits are like 3,000-piece Lego sets, when you get it's the Executor, the Superstar Destroyer.
Yeah.
That's right, Executor, right? Or is it No, it should be I always thought it was weird that it wasn't Executor, but then I think at the last second they were printing on a Kenner toy box, and they're like, Executor?
Executor?
Like,
Executor? Yeah.
I don't know. But it's not kids like running around, trying to execute each other.
I mean, isn't it really? Even though we don't
When you
call
played
it that?
Jedis as a kid, did you try to stab and kill the other person, or were you trying to cut their hands off? Because that's the Jedi way.
Yeah. I don't think I ever played Jedis as a kid, but that's a really good question. Like, do you try to stab somebody, or do you just cut their hands off?
Well, that's a problem with having, Leia, the strong female character, in comparison to nothing. I guess she's the strongest. She could have no arms and she'd be the strongest female character in the original trilogy.
Yeah.
But who does she kill? Jabba the Hutt. I guess she kills some random stormtroopers.
Yeah, sure.
And Jabba the Hutt, he don't go anywhere. He's a puppet that eats other puppets.
Yeah.
So, nobody's going to sit still and play Jabba the Hutt while you strangle them with a shoelace or something like that on the playground.
No, nobody's.
So there's not a lot for Princess Leia to do, except whoever's playing her, except to just stand to the side and go, "It's great, you're doing great."
Do some quips. Yeah.
Doing some quips.
Yeah.
I bet you were fast with the quips on the playground.
Oh, stop.
Just hot.
Yeah, because I'm so fast with them now. So, as a kid, I was just...
Why did it take them so long to invent the rubber wood chips?
That's a thing?
Yeah. You and I didn't have them.
I didn't know that was a thing.
And I don't spend a lot of time on playgrounds. but when I was working in the child care industry,
yeah.
I was working in the educational industry as well. They have rubber chips.
Huh.
So they're like black or brown, and they're just ground up tires basically. Oh,
sure.
Earth Day. That's how we got it probably. Oh. And they're no better or worse. Actually, they are better, and I'll tell you why. First of all, if you fall 2 stories off the jungle gym, it's springy,
bouncy.
Although I will say that those little pebbles that they had, those are pretty absorbent too. I took quite a few spills into those.
Yeah.
But then you come back into the classroom and the teacher grabs you by your ankles and goes, and just, you got
I
a whole
think I
quarry
had
comes
rocks
out of
in
your
my
pocket.
shoes pretty often. Yeah, for sure. And if you fall on those, I mean, I guess, like you said, although fairly absorbent, if you fall on your knees, it kind of sucks,
I'm a little boy. I got slacks on. You have a, little skirt and patent leather shoes.
Or shorts or something like that.
It's not going to hurt me.
Oh,
Although I've busted through more than a few pants knees in my day as well.
Did you really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Come on with a lot of... Mm-hmm.
Like roughhousing outside or something?
Yeah, and I don't know how long, I feel like in the 70s you could slap a polka dot patch on that and you're just like, just a rambling kid, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Like it all fits into the, just the whole sort of sartorial milieu of the decade. But I don't know when that started to fade.
It's a good...
Maybe when everybody had like nylon track pants. Like once you go through nylon, there's not a lot you can really do about it.
You can't really fix those.
No.
That's true. Yeah. That's not something you can really fix. I definitely had some jean holes like in knees like patched though as a kid.
Sure. Oshkosh bagosh.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. From Wisconsin.
And that was 5 minutes. We can talk about anything.
We can.
So if you're out there and you need somebody who can talk about anything for at least 5 minutes, and I had more. I had hip pocket full of rocks, little pebbles, ready to go. But we're going to talk about movies instead today on COVideos, and we're talking about two unique picks that have nothing really to do with each other, except they both
No.
involve crime. And
True.
I guess we're going to go with yours first by the draw. What
Yes.
was your film?
My film is Scarface.
Hmm.
And
Howard Hawks.
yeah, I gotta
No.
be honest with you. Like, I didn't know. I mean, I knew that Al Pacino was the star.
Yes.
But I didn't know a whole lot about this film, like, going into it. Like,
You know, it was directed by Brian De Palma.
I saw that when we watched
Or
it,
that
but
the
I
script
didn't.
was written by Oliver Stone.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Is it crazy?
Well, maybe it's not crazy, but I didn't know that beforehand. All I knew is that he was some sort of, like, he was involved with crime, and then at the end he has like a machine gun and he says, "Say hello to my little friend," and and shoots a bunch of guys. That's all I knew. I had no idea of, like, I guess you wouldn't say it's the framing story. It's not a framing story, but I didn't know that. That the film takes that they I'm not exactly sure what the actual event was called, but there in Fidel Castro, I guess, like, allowed a bunch of
In 1980.
in 1980 allowed a bunch of people from Cuba to go to the United States, supposedly to reunite with family. But the film kind of suggests that maybe he was hoping to get rid of some of the criminals that were in Cuba as well.
Well, whatever. I mean, that's what Oliver Stone's screenplay says. And
Yes.
this entire movie is like social remember we learned about scare quotes?
Yes.
Commentary.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the commentary is. And I've seen this movie a couple times. I've never really thought about it. And of course, recent events have thrust immigrants and the things that they go through. And I'm sure some of them are really good people.
Wow.
Into the spotlight.
Wow.
But this movie basically just casts them as they're terrible. And we shouldn't let them in because you're going to let in a maniac like Tony Montana.
Well,
who
he is a
supposed to be
maniac,
sympathetic, but he kills somebody in the first 5 minutes of the movie. And
Yeah.
it's not, and plus it's, just to drive the point home, we go into the title card with footage of Castro. It's like, come on. I mean, Oliver Stone is supposed to be like a woke guy, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. He's just a guy that's on shrooms all the time. But, like, he's supposed to be like a woke guy. And this is just like a super cold take on U.S.-Cuban relations. I think even in 1980, like, he's definitely got an old dog-eared, communist party card lying around somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Or not. I don't know. I didn't. You watch Nixon, and he's very forgiving to Nixon. And you watch W. Actually, I haven't watched W, but I bet he's kind of forgiving to W.
I haven't seen
while
Nixon
trying to criticize them, and it's
Yeah.
like, well, which is it?
Right.
You're not a libertarian, as far as I know. So what are you, dude? But anyway, he got his start. His first movie he directed, he also wrote, but he wrote a bunch of movies after that, things like Midnight Express and Conan the Barbarian, and other stuff. This
Right.
and his first big deal was Platoon.
Okay.
He was kind of off to the races after that. But,
Sure.
Sorry. So
What?
you broke the rules and you did half of it, but I'll just do it real quick.
Oh,
even
sorry.
quicker than I usually do. Tony Montana is a Cuban refugee. That's what he claims. He's a political refugee, but maybe he's a thug. And I've been told that we can't say thug anymore.
That's what I've heard.
So this is the only time I'll use it on this show, but I'd like to register a point of order. But anyway, and he is here in America to make something of himself, but he is restricted by the fact that he is a Cuban immigrant with no education and was nothing. He was in the army. That's about it in Cuba, and nobody wants to deal with him. And he makes his way into Salieri gets him into. There are no. The guy that plays Manny is the only actual Hispanic person in this movie. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But F. Mary Abraham gets him into the Coca game, and things go from there. And he wants the world and everything in it. And guess what happens to a character like that?
Yeah, it blows up in his face.
Well, he
or
blows
in the back
things
of
up.
his head. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, not a great message about immigrants, and I think I hate this movie now.
Oh no, really? Wow.
We're supposed to be able to talk about it.
I
Do you want me to take
know.
it?
I know.
What'd you think of? All right, we'll break
I-
it down. We'll break
okay,
it down.
okay.
What'd you think of? What'd you think of Al Pacino's performance as Tony Montana?
I mean, it was fine. I couldn't understand him half of the time.
The audio mixing is not great on this film.
No.
Yeah, that's I don't know. Like it's not very good, and
Look.
a lot of characters are speaking, broken English sometimes, and they're mumbling, and so yeah, tempted to put the subtitles on, but
It's tempting.
it doesn't matter because half the words are the F word, and
True.
also this is like 2 3/4 hours long.
I know. I'm sorry. I chose another long one, and I wasn't intentional.
And as a college student, oh yeah, this movie was voted the #1 movie of all time by college dorm walls. But as a college student, I never really, you sit down and you go, yeah, well, it's an important movie. It's long. It's real long. But now I'm watching it and I'm like, every single scene is the longest version of this scene that you could do. It would be real easy to go, all right, so we're going to have a deal or what? I don't know. Hey, Salieri, you go in that helicopter. Tell you what, I don't like that guy. Check that out. Oh, I'm hanging from a helicopter.
Yeah.
What's it going to be? Hey, I don't break my word for no one. Done. Everything is like, all the questions are asked 3 times. The things that we already kind of understand. It's good to see Harris Yulin, but at this point, we get it, right? Harris Yulin is like I can't remember if he was a Fed or just local police or whatever.
Who was that? The cop?
He's the cop who drinks the milk.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
He comes in to shake him down. We get it. We get what a shakedown is.
Yeah.
We've got more scenes to do. We got Mr. Peanut has to come out and do a dance. R.I.P. Mr. Peanut.
Oh.
And you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
but that's we spend like 35 minutes in the club.
I know.
in that time that we go to the club.
Yeah, I know.
It's just so long.
No, that's a really good point.
Sorry.
It doesn't need to be that long.
Al Pacino?
I don't feel like it felt like it was long, but I don't know that it
Really?
yeah.
You were shifting around a lot when
Was
you were watching
I?
it.
Okay. I don't know. I feel like some movies you really feel like their length, like Magnolia was just excruciating, and I apologize again for
No, we can't go back.
making you watch that. But I don't know. Like I liked a lot of the performances in this, although you did mention that the guy who plays Manny is like just about the only Hispanic actor.
He's Cuban.
In this. He's Cuban.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, like I mean, I think maybe some of the other minor characters might be Latinx, but like yeah, I mean, so I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know if they
very few of them are.
Okay.
Oh, I should say that Stephen Bauer, the guy that plays Manolo, is he's Don Eladio on Breaking Bad.
I just looked this up and I saw his face and
Yeah.
I was like, wait, who did he was the assassin guy?
No.
No?
He's one of the Dons. He's on Better Call Saul. I mean, I think he might have been in Breaking Bad, but he's a big part of Better Call Saul. And he's like whenever they go to the pool and he's the main guy. He's the main guy that owns the house with the pool where Gus kills everybody. Spoilers for you, I guess, because you don't remember any of this. So let's get back into it.
Wait,
so you got Al
what?
Pacino, right? Al Pacino, Italian. Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio, Italian.
Yeah.
Robert Loggia, Italian. Apparently, you can just swap in Italians for
Which I don't think is
for
true.
Latinx people. Yeah, and F. Murray Abraham. I gotta tell, I don't know what he is, but he's from Pittsburgh. I think he's like Syrian or Middle Eastern or something, or at least part.
Huh.
So it's just it's. Speaking of Breaking Bad, Mark Margolis is Shadow the assassin. He's like, you gotta get 30 meters or whatever. He said, ding ding ding.
Yeah, see, that's who I thought you were talking
I
about.
was not.
Okay, so I was thinking about him. So the guy he shoots at the pool. Who does he play in this movie?
It's not shot. He poisons everybody.
He poisons everybody. Who does he play in this movie?
Manny.
Manny?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Now I'm clear. Good.
That's okay. I don't really want to talk about the movie I picked either.
Hey,
Let's just talk about Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. So I can't. They're coming back for another season. It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
Anyway, we still haven't seen the 5th season, but we'll get on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, I don't know. It's just the details. I had to take comfort in the details.
Mm-hmm.
Why am I? This is your movie. Why am
I know.
We started off so good. I mean, what do you want to? Come on.
I mean, it's like horrific, and a lot of really horrible things happen in it. Like, I think the stakes are set pretty early on when they go to this really bad drug job and
drug job.
Okay.
Hey, I got a drug job now
Okay,
today.
all right. They're doing a deal, and it does not only does it not go according to plan, it goes just about as worse as it could possibly go. And like the guy is freaking crazy.
Everybody's seen Scarface.
Yeah, I know.
What
but
I think
like,
is more interesting is, what do you think about Tony Montana as a character? And what is his arc?
his arc is that he wants what he doesn't have, and then when he gets it, he's like, "Is this it?" And he's not satisfied.
Yeah. Well, I'm not satisfied with that arc.
No, I know, but that's basically what it is. And then he tries to drown himself in his sorrows on a literal mountain of cocaine. So
It was cocaine. I thought it was baker sugar. Oh, that makes so much more sense now. Yeah, I don't like this movie much.
really,
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I only ever liked it because, college dorm room walls, but I can't believe I'm saying this, but Al Pacino made a later, how do you put this, like Puerto Rican version of this film called Carlito's Way, where he's a guy who's like, he's a older gangster type guy, and he gets out of prison. He's trying to like retire, and he keeps getting like pulled back into to all this to this BS. And it's another De Palma film, and it's by David Koepp. Screenplays by David Koepp, which is he's good sometimes. And it's just like there's better set pieces. It's also long, but not as long. It's got Luis Guzman in it. I don't know. But it's just like every single scene is just the longest it could be.
yeah,
De Palma just never said cut, and he never wanted to, because excellent clock continuity in that scene where he kills Robert Loggia when he
yeah,
blows
I know,
Frank
right?
away.
Yeah,
They're gonna call it 3:00.
yeah.
And they do, and then 3 minutes later the scene's over and it says 3:03 on the clock.
Yeah, right.
Anybody else, you just go, you come up with some reason for somebody to smash the clock or something like that. I mean, it's like, I can't believe this, and they smash the clock. Or maybe or maybe Robert Loggia is like, hey, we can work this out, and he's like, and he shoots the clock. And he's like, you out of time, man, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I could totally see that.
This is the worst conversation. There's no substance in this conversation at all.
I'm sorry.
What do you think that the movie is trying to say? Well, first of all, I better make sure that you're aware. This movie is a remake of Scarface from 1932, right?
Okay.
New information. I even said Howard Hawks before. Yeah, directed by Howard Hawks and written mostly by Ben Hecht. And it's, Scarface was based loosely on a novel it's about Al Capone, basically.
Okay.
It's like a fictionalized version of Al Capone's story. Al Capone was known as Scarface. He hated that name, but he was known as that.
Okay.
And so this is basically Brian De Palma's like,
sense.
yeah, or maybe it was Oliver Stone, I don't know, but they're like, how do we update Scarface? And Oliver Stone's like, literally ripped from the headlines, tears out the newspaper page, and he's like, oh, check this out. So there's like this riot at this concentration camp, Freedom Town,
right,
where they're keeping all the Cuban immigrants.
Right.
People of color rioting. Not in this country. And so they're like, let's take the structure of Scarface and kind of make that a thing. That's why they Everybody's got double-breasted suits on. It was the 80s. No one's wearing double-breasted suits.
Yeah, right.
That's why he has a Rolls Royce.
Uh-huh.
Apparently, Al Capone had a hot sister he wanted to bang. I don't know about that.
That was weird. That was weird.
So yeah, this is supposed to be their update, and they even get him for tax evasion.
Yeah, right.
And I'm like,
right.
We've seen the travel agency. We've seen the realty company. What are these fronts for if you're not like cleaning this?
Yeah,
that's
right.
what it's supposed to be.
I know.
There's
exactly.
I don't think there's a character in the movie that's like his accountant. We never see that guy.
No. And in fact, like the
But
cop,
apparently he
like,
didn't have an accountant.
No, and you would think he would. Like the cop who busted him when they were like counting the money and everything in that one scene. Like I thought maybe he was like his accountant or something like that. But
well, he was the dark, black market bank that he went to, because the banker guy he uses was like, it's too much money. I mean, and this is something else I wanted to say. Early in the film when they go to the the drug job gone wrong.
Yeah.
And he just shoots, the guy in the face in the middle of the street in front of all the retirees and the chicks in bikinis. And you're like, there are so many witnesses. And I'm like, yeah, but they're all complicit. Everybody's complicit. I mean, not the lady having a Mai Tai, but like, he goes to the bank and they're bringing sacks of money in. Everybody's fine with it. He goes to buy a Porsche and the guy's like, oh, machine gun turrets are extra. He's like, this guy, he's a comedian or whatever.
So
this guy, he knows that he's a gangster.
Yeah,
but
right.
everybody encourages this. Somewhere in here, and I think that people say this about the film, but I don't see it in the film, but it's like a criticism of capitalism, which I see under every bush and rock, and the American dream, which is
you can be
come
anything.
to America, you get the power, the coca, the women, or whatever.
Right.
And Al Pacino does it all right. He does everything. He works hard. He never breaks his balls and never lies, even when he's telling the truth or whatever it is. But he doesn't pay his taxes, and so time to go.
Right.
Suddenly
That's true.
He's in trouble.
Yeah.
And it's just like a story of somebody who gets crushed by his version of the American dream. Now, I should have picked Howard Hawks' Scarface. I haven't seen that.
There you go.
I don't know if it's the same thing, but.
Well, do you think, like, with Frank, like, telling him that, like, the people who last in this business... Like, are like, the ones who,
Are the ones who... So I'm doing my rabbit logia. Feed me the line, come on.
Who like, go really slow, take it easy, fly to the straight and
narrow. Take it easy!
Yeah. Like, do you think, like, him, like, blowing up as fast as he did and becoming as big of a deal as he did and not listening to him... Like, do you think he like that was just like him not listening to Frank was like?
But he got pushed into that though. Do you know what I mean? He meets Sosa.
I know.
Who's an American guy playing a British guy. This movie's almost messed up.
Oh yeah.
And immediately they're like, "Oh, we're gonna hang Salieri from a helicopter," and then go, "But you want to do the deal, right?" And what's he supposed to do?
Yeah, I know, right?
All they can do. I mean, he can try to save
killed?
face, but at the same time, he's also like, "Am I next? Is there another chopper gassed up for me?"
Yeah.
So he's like, hey, I don't break my word or whatever. And we never see the scene, and maybe this movie is just like 100% pure machismo and like toxic masculinity.
Yeah,
but we
definitely.
never see, but like people can't live like that. Like we never see a scene where he's like, okay, I'm going to go to the bathroom. And then he goes to the bathroom and he's like,
no. We never see him freaking out. Well, that's not exactly true. We see him doing a lot of coke.
Right, yeah.
But
the whole time he's just like, hey, I'm just Tony Montana. I do everything the same all the time. And it's like, well, that's a character you can get your hooks in. Like,
well, and then
Michelle Pfeiffer. Like, why are you in this film?
I know. I mean, she looks great, but...
Well, that's what we want to say about a female actress.
No.
I got a question for the female actresses in this movie. Are you just issued a breastbone, like when you get cast in this film?
Yeah, pretty
much. A lot of breastbones in this film.
Yeah.
Just everybody's...
Well, and like...
Not a lot of boobs. A lot of breastbones.
Well, they didn't really... Michelle Pfeiffer doesn't really have a great character, and neither does, like, Tony's sister. And, like, they're basically just seen as sex objects, or for in the case of his sister, somebody who shouldn't have sex at all, because how dare she? And Tony, like, we know that he's taken by her and that he wants to be with her, like, right away, but like he doesn't really do a whole lot to woo her. You know what I mean? Like, he does kind of little things, and he kind of jokes around with her, like, a little bit, but he comes on, like, way too strong at
Yeah, this
first.
is Tony's movie. Like, we can't take time to, like, we can't follow Manolo and Gina off and, like, have their courtship. We get that little scene on the way back from him yelling at her where, you know...
I know, right? But we don't see that at all.
One of the few subtle bits of writing in the movie, we get that, like, she's mad that she wants to act out, and then she gets the idea, like, oh, what about you?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that they don't love each other in the movie, but it clearly starts as, like, well, I'm going to date his best friend to piss him off.
Right. Well, that's true. But, like, he basically, while she's still with Frank, like, he's basically talking about marriage when they haven't even, like, spent that much time together. They don't know if they even like each other.
He just wants a wife and kids, and he wants 40 acres, and he wants, you know, a picket fence.
I just don't think he thinks it through.
I reference I point you to my early comments.
Yeah.
About it just being, you know, the crime version of the American dream. It's like Cuban Citizen Kane, Citizen Cuban.
Well, I mean, I guess it makes sense that it's because I was like, why is it called Scarface? They mentioned the scar like once, so you telling me that it's based on another movie that Capone was called Scarface? That makes more sense. Like, why not just call it something else?
The world is yours.
Yeah, right.
Let's hit that again.
Exactly.
What I want to know is this part of the Law and Order universe? Because Detective Munch is in
I was
this.
thinking about that, but then I was thinking
Richard Belzer doing 100% Cuban jokes. Are you ready? Here we go. Come on, these are all Cuban jokes.
But, like, I was thinking about it, like, he's not playing his cop character, so
yeah,
it's probably not. But that totally crossed my mind, too. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, Tony likes, he likes tigers, balls, and cockroaches.
Yeah.
There's tigers and there's cockroaches. And to be a tiger, you gotta have balls. That's what I got out of this.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a lot of De Palma films. It's very stylistic. There are zero. Well, I can't defend this, but there are very few Dutch angle shots, if any. Mm-hmm. God damn the person that taught Brian De Palma how to do a Dutch angle. It's good looking. It's well made. It's a real capsule of the time. I don't know if it was. I mean, obviously, 1980 that had to happen, and then you write the script. It came out in '83.
Yeah.
So this is
It
all
came out
real
pretty
current.
fast.
You know, this
Yeah.
is set in the modern day of the time, but it looks great. I just like I said, it's just very uncomplicated, and I just wish that they would dig in more to what are you trying to say?
I think that's a really good point. Like, what are you trying to say? Like, are you saying something negative about immigrants? Are you saying something bad about Tony and Manny specifically?
We see no other Cuban. All the other Cubans
either
work for him or are his mom. And she's the one person who's like, I work for a living, take your dirty money.
Yeah, exactly. Great.
That actress is Puerto Rican.
Okay.
Anyway, you can't win.
No, you can't.
Did you hear that Jenny Lewis quit Big Mouth?
No.
Her character is biracial, I believe. I haven't watched Big Mouth in a long time. Half black or whatever. And she's like, black characters should be played by black actors. And so I leave this show.
Oh, wow. Huh. Well, what do you think about that?
I don't disagree.
Okay.
But I mean, like, we don't have time. We got to get into the other movie. Actually, I don't have much to say about the other movie, so let's do it.
Okay.
There is just a long, long tradition of people who are not, like, the other day you were trying to grill me on, like, well, should a person who's French play a person who's German? I'm like, I don't know.
Well,
I think it's everywhere you throw one of those little pebbles from the playground, you're going to hit a white actor. So that's not what we're worried about. We're worried about people, who are not Cuban, just getting a real nice tan and then going, hey, man, or whatever. And it's like, we could do a lot better than that. It's about representation. It's about actually seeing the people that we see in the real world reflected in our entertainment and not just picking from the same 12 people who went to Stafford Shakespeare Festival or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I think one thing that
But as far to complete my thought,
Yeah.
not to cut you off, but as far as voice acting goes, there's a long tradition of like voice actors just knowing different accents, and I'm not saying that we shouldn't change the industry, and I definitely think somebody like we get in really weird bad territory when it's something like a poo where it's like, let me do this. I'm not going to do it. Whoa. Let's not do it. But let me do this stereotyped character who runs the Quickie Mart or whatever. I mean, like, yeah, we can let that go. But if Jenny Lewis, who is
it Jenny Lewis?
Just Slate.
Okay. Because I was confused because I was like Jenny Lewis, like the singer. I was like, maybe she went back to acting.
No, this is going to be important because now I'm going to say, Jenny Lewis, Jenny Slate, who is, multiracial herself, but I guess not the right multiracial. So I don't know. I respect her decision to do it. I guess I didn't really have a problem with it before because it's a sympathetic portrayal of the character, but I don't know. I think the public has to decide. Yeah. Well,
I wonder, there's a long tradition of...
sure is.
You let me talk.
About my movie? Sure.
Of Asian actors, playing other Asian characters that aren't, like, the same nationality that they are. And is that, like... Are we okay with that? Is that an issue? Is that a problem?
Yeah, I think Asian actors are happy to have a job.
I know.
So they're like, yeah, I'm Chinese. I'll play Korean, sure.
I know. Okay,
But like that's the problem, right? Like we need to have more Asian actors and more represented. Asian stories.
Yeah, exactly.
And is there ever going to be another Crazy Rich Asians? Which it's not a great title, but okay. What was I going to say? It was probably offensive.
I don't know what you were going to say, Mr.
Probably
Offensive Man.
Best that it's gone. The movie that I picked is a 1980... Excuse me.
Whoa, got that?
Bad time for that to happen. It's a 1985 Hong Kong film.
Yes.
Action film called Yes, Madam. Mm-hmm. Or literally Royal Elder Sister from the Chinese, or excuse me, the Mandarin.
Wow. Royal Elder Sister, huh?
Yes.
Huh.
Starring Michelle Yeoh.
Yes.
And Cynthia Rothrock.
Yes.
And, well, we'll talk about the other people that are
okay. Should I give a synopsis?
Yeah.
Okay, so Hong Kong is a city of crime, at least if these movies are to be believed. And Michelle Yeoh plays I don't remember what her actual character's name is.
They all have
it's like Inspector
names.
So-and-so, but they call her Madam.
Yeah.
And she's working another case. There was like a peeping Tom or whatever, and like
we're going scene by scene.
Okay,
scene
well,
by
I'm
scene,
trying
people.
to get to it. And there's this much bigger crime. Like there's these guys that try to take over this armored truck, and she basically her and like
First scene. That's the first scene.
you're not helping. Basically, she's a kick-ass cop, and she knows martial arts, and she's also really good with a gun. Not that we need to be like going for cops to be.
We're not even to the
guns
main
or
characters yet. Just come
on. Okay, there are these two other guys who are thieves. They're just like petty thieves, and they're taking things out of hotel rooms. And they take something out of this one guy's hotel room, but he has already been killed by this other guy, and they end up taking the thing that the guy who assassinated him wanted. And so they get mixed up in this huge thing that they didn't want to get mixed up in, and now they're afraid that the cops are going to find them, and then they're also afraid that the other criminals who are murdering people are going to find them, and they're going to kill them. And Michelle Yeoh is trying to get to the bottom of it because the guy who was killed was her one of her former supervisors, I think, when she was studying at Scotland Yard, I think.
Yes.
So she's kind of taking it kind of personally. And then Cynthia, what's her last name? Rothrock gets brought in because they feel like Michelle Yeoh's not handling it that well. And she's from she's from Scotland or England, and she's going to help out with the case.
Yes.
Yes, and it's kind of like a buddy cop movie, but instead of with two guys, it's with two ladies who kick butt with their martial arts and all that. So
this is all true.
Yeah.
And one of the producers is Dixon Poon.
Yeah, who
which I don't mean. I mean that's a made up name. I don't mean to laugh at like a foreign name, but nobody's Dixon Poon. That sounds like a porn parody of Dick Tracy or something like that.
I know. Michelle
Blade Rubber. It's like, oh, we need your magic, Dixon Poon.
Michelle Yeoh and him were actually married for a while.
Dixon Poon?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Well, I don't know what's going on here. I need to dig deeper into this.
They got married a couple years after this.
So she's credited as Michelle King.
I read
Is that
about
her
this
maiden
too.
name?
No.
Oh, wow, you did a lot of research. Oh, well, then what do you have to do the research instead of talking about like the flasher?
Well, I just read like the Wikipedia thing. So the production company was just kind of starting. They were kind of a newer production company in Hong Kong, and they spotted Michelle Yeoh. She won a couple of beauty contests, and they thought that she had a lot of talent. I think they're called like D&B Productions or something like that, and they suggested that she use that last name because they thought it would be more marketable overseas. Yeoh is actually her real last name, and she decided to go back to using that because that was what her preference. And yeah, so like a couple of years after this came out, her and Dixon Poon got married. They were married for a while, and then I think in like less than 10 years, I think it was like 92 or 93, and she like at the same time she got married, she decided to retire from acting, and then they got divorced in 92, and she was like, I'm back. And
Super Cop.
Yeah, that's what she came back and she did Super Cop.
Wow, it was Police Story 3, but yeah.
Well, yeah.
Let's just talk about Hong Kong cinema. Let's talk about Hong Kong cinema. It's directed by Corey Yen, who is he's mostly known as a fight choreographer, and he's like an award-winning fight choreographer. When the whole with the onset of like the exodus from Hong Kong to America, which gave us bad American John Woo movies, except for Hard Target, and also like all those movies where like a rapper teams up with an action star. Yeah. So it's like Ludacris and Sammo Hung or whatever. So like he choreographed all those. But he was known as he's one of the Seven Little Fortunes.
Okay.
And I was trying to tell you about this the other day.
Okay.
Because he comes from Peking Opera, just like Jackie Chan.
Oh, okay.
And him, all Jackie Chan, Sammo Hung, and a couple other guys were like had a side troupe. They're all sort of made it big in Hong Kong cinema.
Huh. That's really neat.
And this is funny. The guy that plays Panadol, the forger, who's like the third leg of the
petty thieves
analgesic stool.
Yeah, right.
It was played by Soy Hark, who was also a choreographer and a director as well. And he directed, I think, The Replacement Killers.
Okay.
He directed a couple movies over here, but not a ton.
Okay. All right.
So it's all, it's a lot of people in that city, but still sort of like a small world. Like a lot of,
sure,
people have worked
concentrated.
People and
yeah.
This movie begins with a lady closing a book on a guy's dick. So I don't really know where to go from there. But this, I found it funny that this is 1985, and the whole when did Red Heat come out? It's been a little while since we watched that.
I don't remember off the top of my head.
88. This is a real Red Heat situation, right?
Yeah.
Except we don't really invest in the Cynthia Rothrock character at all.
No.
But Schwarzenegger is going to come. If you know, he's coming. He's always coming all the time. It's from Pump and Iron, right? But he comes to America and he's going to team up with Jim Belushi.
Yep.
Who sucks, and so they're going to track down the Russians or whatever. It's kind of like that.
It is.
Only there are no the bad guys aren't American. or
True.
British, which might have been interesting. It's just like a British guy died, so now they're both on the case.
Right.
And like the plot is very incidental. And when you think like there's a whole streak of like these girls with guns movies like in Hong Kong at the time, but and this went on to like there's like 8 sequels to this.
Wow.
It's like it's called the In the Line of Fire series.
Okay.
And you think that like, oh, okay, so like Michelle Yeoh as Inspector Ng is like she's the main character.
Yeah.
And we're gonna follow her. It's not really. It's kind of about like the 3 thieves too.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Arguably, they're like the main characters.
Arguably. I mean, it's kind of... Yeah, I guess.
All right.
Yeah,
anyway.
I mean, they kind of are. Yeah.
Well, it's like the bad guy who is also a famous Hong Kong actor, whose name I can't remember.
The laughing guy. Yeah.
I love to laugh. Whoa, no, don't. He's slipping this lampshade on. It's like, just make that your thing. You don't have to explain it to us.
Yeah, I know, right?
But then he explains it at the end, and then, aspirin or whatever is like, screw you! And then just blows him away. Movie's over!
I know!
That story is done.
I know.
And so I guess that was like the thing the whole time. It was about like it was a story of like tragedy and crime and revenge.
I guess.
and then also Michelle Yeoh does a backflip through a pane of glass.
Yeah,
and then
right.
grabs 2 guys and throws them off a balcony.
Yeah, that was pretty sweet.
Let's just talk about that for the rest of the thing.
The martial arts in this movie, the stunt work and everything was fantastic.
What there is.
Yeah.
You wait the movie's like 90 minutes long. Not bad.
Yeah.
But you wait the whole movie to get to the last 10 minutes. And then it's like, whoa, baby. It just goes off the rails.
Okay.
And Cynthia Rothrock she is so GD fast. Like, she is so good at
I know.
this. And she's good enough that you don't see this a lot. Like, Betty the Jet did this. She's not native. Like, they brought her over, and she could keep up with all these Hong Kong guys.
Yes.
So, yeah, but she just never really... She had a couple, like, American, like, B movies, and she never really went anywhere big, unfortunately. I heard that she did the motion capture moves for Mortal Kombat, but I might be wrong. And I know that the character of Sonya, that would have been the character, was definitely based off of, I think, her as...
I think I read that.
As a fighter. But, but she just never was really in all that much.
She has 8 black belts in different martial art styles, which is insane. Yeah. So she is, freaking legit. And I do, even though it's not as on the same scale as the big fight scene at the end, I did really enjoy the fighting that she did at the airport, and when we haven't even met the character yet.
Well, that's this movie's thing. It'll just cut to like, here are 4 new characters who are already embroiled in something, and that's what really works in this movie. You really know the characters. You really feel for them.
I know, but like you think that she's just like an ordinary lady like at the airport, and then she just like starts whipping this guy's butt and like is doing martial arts with him in a skirt that all of a sudden has a split in it, and then running up walls, and I don't know. I was like, it did, I think, the desired effect. Like, I wasn't expecting it, and it was really cool. And I was super excited for it. I wish there was more of that in this film.
Yeah. Corey Yang is, or Yen is, he's a choreographer for a long time. I think this is his 2nd film. Mm-hmm. And whereas De Palma was doing a lot of great stuff, but, with self-assuredness and, you're going to, it'll enhance the movie, what he's trying to do. Mm-hmm. Corey Yang keeps doing all these, like, flashy things. Like, I think he's trying to prove that he's a director or can direct. So almost every scene has a mirror in it somewhere.
I didn't notice that.
He was taking like pride in the fact that he can shoot these scenes, but you don't see a crew.
A camera or anything. I see.
There's that scene where the bad guy is leaving the hotel, and so we see through the revolving door, him coming to the revolving door.
Yes.
And then he leaves, but the camera goes through the revolving door opposite him, and then comes in and focuses on what Michelle
Yo is doing.
I don't even remember. Yeah, Yo. I was like, is that her other name? So yeah, I mean, like he's like, hey, check it out. It's like, all right, we get it. You know what you're doing.
Good for you.
Just calm down.
I also really like the scene where the name of the forger guy, the Panadol,
which is
another
Tylenol in Asia.
Yeah, like they're all the three petty thieves forger. They're all like named after drugs, like
Yes.
aspirin, and then I can't remember the other guy's name.
Strepsil.
This
is like cough drops.
Panadol. The guy he gave the British guy's ID to escapes from the cops and comes back to attack him. And they have this whole great like fight scene through his apartment.
Yes,
that was really neat.
Yes.
Like with like his like caged wall thing that like kind of like caged him in.
Frenetic, you know, so directing, and it's the whole thing. It's a cartoon.
It is.
They might as well have had like City Hunter, like the Jack Chan movie, is a cartoon, but they might as well have had a guy get on the head and like hit on the head, and then stars are going around him. But
there was
at one point,
mallet in it.
He tries to squeeze through a wall, and then the guy grabs him and pulls it back, but it's not him; it's a dummy with dynamite in its mouth.
Yes,
and he's like, yeah.
That was great. And then like he's like on his bunk bed, and he like beckons him up there, and like he jumps up there, and then he moves the bed, and he. Yeah, that was great. And then that guy died, so that was.
You know, the cops are brutal in Hong Kong. We had last movie's about immigration.
Yeah.
This is about police brutality.
In Hong Kong.
There's literally a thing where Michelle Yeoh wants to like give guys tea, give the perps, you know, some tea and a cigarette, and be like, "Why don't you tell us the information?"
Yeah.
And Cynthia Rothrock's like, "Let me take him to a dark room and beat the piss out of him."
I know.
And they're like, "Did she get anything?" Oh well.
I know.
Not great. I watched a lot of Hong Kong movies on like VHS in college, and you get them from the weird video store in town, and they're almost always translated like into English, like at the source. Like some guy with a shaky grasp of English in Hong Kong is just slapping the subtitles on. And you don't get that anymore because foreign films and the foreign film market has become huge, right? You're going to have there's 47 languages
right
when you get a Blu-ray.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the copy we watched was a trip back to those times.
It was
When they go to so they go to a pool place, and I'll finish my observation and then we'll talk about pool.
Okay.
But they're going there, and I guess they're going to try to. And it's a scene that makes no sense. And I think the pool shark guy was somebody that I should have known, but I didn't know who it was.
Okay.
But they go there and they're talking about like, we're here for fat chicks. I'm like, what are you talking?
I know. I had
Freddie
no
Mercury.
idea.
What's going on here?
Yeah, right.
I think they meant like a pigeon, like a goose that's ready to be plucked. You know, like a turkey.
Like they wanted easy pickings.
Yeah, they thought like, oh, we can swindle this guy, no problem. This guy's, he's a pigeon waiting to be plucked.
Okay.
They just kept saying like, is he a fat chick? Let's get some fat chicks. Like, what are you talking about? All right, so yes, billiards can describe any table game that uses balls. However, pool is pocket pool. Right? You've got the pockets. And billiards doesn't necessarily have pockets. You can play billiards, there's no pockets. What they were playing,
How
though...
do you play billiards, then?
It's just about hitting balls and stuff, I guess.
Okay.
But what they were playing was snooker. Snooker is a 9-ball game with 9 red balls. That is a totally different thing. And it all comes from the influence of the British in Hong Kong.
Huh.
That's why they play snooker.
Okay. For snooker,
who's the fat chick now?
And it's all red balls. Do you try to get it in the pockets for that one?
There are pockets, but there's also other balls too. I don't actually know how to play snooker.
Oh, okay. All right.
But I know what it is.
Wow. Okay. All right. I guess I learned something new today because I thought, and this came up when we were watching it. I thought that pool and billiards were synonyms.
No. Well, I mean they can be, but you can also there are
different variations.
Table games. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, but I mean, if you just walk into like a billiards hall in the Midwest, it's all going to be
Pockets. Yeah.
All right, rack them up. So there's also a scene where a police officer who's like a beat cop and a guy who is like a city meter maid fight over who can give a ticket to a car, and you're like, once again, the characters. That's what really draws you into this film.
I was like,
what is going on?
Of these guys?
Yeah.
I know. Why not have the cop be somebody we'd seen in the station already? You know what I mean?
Well, maybe he was. I couldn't necessarily tell. I mean, he's distinguished by his teeth for sure. He did not have really great teeth. And then that one guy who's like, there's a bit in Brain Candy, the Kids in the Hall movie, which we are going to do on this show one day. Keep waiting for you to pick it, but I'm just gonna peel your eyes open and make you watch it.
I have seen it at some point.
But,
I just don't remember it that well.
Where the four scientists who are four members of the Kids in the Hall, obviously, which don't look at their blackface. Let's not look into that. But they're working on this drug, this antidepressant, and they're like talking about the data, and they're like, "This sounds really good. We might have something here." And then Dave Foley is like off in the hallway, and he's like, "Jesus Christ, I think we've got it." They're like, "Who are you?" Just a guy. Just kind of walked off. And
that's what these scenes felt like.
Well, in the police station, there was that guy that kept going like aspirin and Panadol, or some of the cops would be talking, and he'd be like, "That sounds great. I think you've got it." And then it turns out he's just like a perp, because then the cops like holds his hand up and they're handcuffed together. And he's like, "Hey, leave them alone. Come over here." And they did that a couple times, and it was like a funny bit. But I thought it was going to like lead somewhere, or we get a big payoff to it. Apparently, in Hong Kong cinema, two is the number of comedy,
not 3. Yeah, I guess I thought in my head I equated him and thought that maybe he was like the peeping Tom, the flasher guy from the beginning. But I don't think that's necessarily true.
No, he was not.
Okay, all right.
That guy wasn't bald, and he also had bad teeth. Remember, the British. It's the British influence. I thought that, there just wasn't enough Michelle Yeoh. She was in it a little bit, but not enough. I liked when, the whole point is like aspirin and not Panadol, Strepsil are, now they know that not only do they have like a loan shark coming after them, but they've already met this murderous guy in like the Nehru jacket that like is trying to kill them. So they're trying to get arrested. And so that's why they beat up the meter maid or whatever. And he's like, "I got these guys. They assaulted a police officer." And Michelle Yeoh's like, "That's not a big deal. Just let them go." Yeah. And they're like, "We can't get arrested." And then she pulls up and she's like, "Where are you guys going? Need a ride?" Like she's using them as bait, like to find the bad guys that are coming after them, which is like, it's a little unorthodox, but
it is. It is.
It's right at the end of the second act that both she and Cynthia Rothrock quit the police force. Yeah. Cynthia Rothrock's like, "I don't even work here. Badge and gun." And then they're gonna go off and like solve it with their fists and feet. Which is another thing that's like, okay. But the reason that I brought, anyway, they're great.
They were.
The final fight scene is insane.
Yes.
But I mean, when you watch a Jackie Chan movie, like that's 75% of the movie. You don't have to wait for it.
Yeah. Why did we have to wait for it?
Yeah. Michelle Yeoh has done some crazy things in her life, like just in Hong Kong movies. And you should Google, Michelle Yeoh stunts sometime. But the reason I brought up Red Heat was, it's a Red Heat type movie. But I say, we do it again. Because a lot of the jokes in the movie are about how, like, "Oh, she's a bitch. Like, she'll never find a husband." And it's, these women are existing in this world of chauvinism, but they're not really commenting on it or fighting against it.
No. Right? You're right. Yeah.
So we update it to today. I don't know where Cynthia Rothrock is. Maybe we could do it with her. I don't know. But you have an American female police officer, and there's a Chinese national that was like killed, in America. It's just Red Heat, basically. Only it's China Red Heat, right? Right. And they send Michelle Yeoh over. She could even play Inspector Ng.
Sure.
And it's 30 years later, right?
Right.
And so these two, and they're older women, but they can still kick ass, right? Yeah. They're gonna go out, do it, kick the asses, blow up all the cars, Chief's yelling at them, do the whole thing. Title, Nasty Women.
I think it would definitely grab people's attention, for sure. And I think some people would be pissed about it, and then they would like actually see the trailer and be like, yes.
We don't have a trailer yet.
Yes,
but...
please. Oh, I know.
We're going to get Cynthia Rothrock back in that April O'Neil uniform, though. That's for sure. There's one scene where she's just in a huge puffy yellow jumpsuit.
I was thinking April O'Neil, too. I was like, what the hell?
Does that breathe? Yeah.
Yeah.
Looks comfortable.
I did especially like Michelle Yeoh's outfits in this. I thought they were, even though they're like super 80s, but they were
and they
so
both had
cool.
Crazy like 80s hair, like the short slick back like girl mullet.
Yes.
And she had the off shoulder like blouse, which is just like if you're kung fuing, that's an accident waiting to happen.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, they look great.
Yeah. Yeah, and like the head assassin guy looked pretty good too, like in his like crazy.
Did he get
outfits.
a weird like sense of honor at the end?
What do you mean? Like why?
The whole movie, he's it's terrible. He's gonna run him over with a motorbike, and he's trying to kill everybody. And at the very end, and then he like kicks Cynthia Rothrock in the face a bunch of times. But at the very end, like I can't remember what it was now. But there's something that he was gonna do that was like too much. It was too far for him.
Cynthia, he's fighting Cynthia, and she gets hurt and she falls down and she's reacting, and he's like, oh my gosh, are you okay? Or like he's like concerned.
Well,
or
that was a
something
comedy
like that.
bit, but there was something like right before he gets shot where it was like, oh, well, I'm not going to do that. Like I can't remember what it was. Maybe I'm just making it up. Maybe I'm thinking of the guy from Hard Boiled, the one-eyed assassin in that, where now I can't remember what happened there either, but it was like, kill all those babies, and he's like, I'm not killing babies. And then he just turns his gun on like the boss.
Yeah I don't recall anything like that.
Like Tony Montana wouldn't kill babies.
Yes, he drew the line somewhere. So
see, but are we supposed to think that he's a good guy?
He's not a good guy.
We know that he loves kids. Here's how we know. He says it twice.
Us.
And then there's one time when Manolo's going to go sexually assault a woman, and he's like, hey, kids, go watch this. Go watch this crime happen.
Yeah.
And he's like, that's a good joke, eh, boss?
Yeah.
No, I'm just Marx Brothers. But so the kids, that's where he wanted kids.
Yes.
And he thinks about a man and his family, and that's too much.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I get it. But yeah, I don't know why that.
Say hello to my little son and daughter.
It'd be a much
Uzi
different movie.
And what was it? What were Ben Stiller's kids' names in Tenenbaums? It was Uzi and.
Oh God, I don't remember.
Wasn't it?
Probably. I don't know.
Nasty Women. Check it out. This spring. Okay, well that's it. We did okay.
I think so.
Yeah.
We did all right.
Sometimes it's a little bit of orthodontistry, but we did all right. On this one, we got some great shows or movies that we're going to watch coming up to make good shows from.
That's right.
Soon, assuming that we keep doing this. I say that every show, but
well,
we'll see.
We've had a spike in COVID cases recently.
Yeah,
so...
everybody's going back into quarantine, so
yeah.
See you soon.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's that. Stay tuned, and because of those spikes, be careful, take care of yourself, and stay healthy, stay safe.